I want to share with everyone today how I allocate my funds for my high yield dividend account when the market just keeps ripping up. I don't want to buy at highs, so I just want to show you, or talk to you rather, about how I do that. This is Mike, the tactical stock scalper. All right. So, for my high yield account, I like to make it self sufficient, which means number one, I sell options in my high yield account. So that way I keep cash coming in. So I don't have to use money out of my own pocket to keep buying shares. But there's another thing I do as well. So if you've watched my videos recently, you can see how far the markets are getting stretched away from their mean, right? And how far away they are from moving averages. So when I see that happening, I know that a pullback or minor correction is imminent. Now, I'm not trying to time the top because that's impossible. But what I am doing is knowing that it's going to happen. So, how do I do that? How do I keep capital and still reinvest in my dividends? I want to talk to you about that. So, as the market keeps going up, so for instance, we've gone up in the NASDAQ and the S&P for 4 months in a row, okay? And so as the market keeps rising and rising and rising, I do an allocation difference. See, I don't use margin. So I only, have a cash account and that's what I use. So at first when the markets are going up for like the first month, I reinvest all my dividends right back in to the high yield funds that I own. Okay. And another thing I do is, as it goes up for the next month, now I'm selling options during this time, so I still have cash coming in. So I'm using that cash in addition to the dividends. So for the second month, I'm doing the same thing, reinvesting all my cash from my options that I sold and all my dividends. Then when we start getting about the third month, I start trimming. So what I do is when I sell my options, I don't reinvest all of it back in. I maybe hold back maybe 10-15% of that money, and I keep it in my account and just leave it sitting there. And we're going to talk about opportunity loss or opportunity cost from doing this here in just a bit. And also when I get my dividends, I don't invest 100% of the dividends like I do when the markets were going up. Now I'm trimming about 5-10%. So I'm reinvesting about 90%. So as you see, I'm starting to build a cash pile. And why am I doing this? Well, just give me a minute here. And then on the fourth month, now that we're going up, now when I sell my options, I'm only putting in like 30% of that money and leaving about 70% in cash. And then when I receive my dividends, I'm putting about 85% back in and then keeping the other 15% in cash. So I'm building this cash position bigger and bigger each month, in addition to still investing and buying more shares in my high yield dividend account. So people will say, Mike, aren't you losing opportunity costs here? And no, no, I'm not. And I want to tell you why. Because it's going to even though I am still reinvesting in my funds, okay, when the market does drop, because I don't use margin, okay, because I only use the cash I have, then I can start buying in larger amounts of shares at a lower price. And that average price is really important to me. And I'll give you an example. Here recently, Amazon had earnings and Amazon shot up while I owned AMZ. And I made sure I had a pretty good average cost of AMZ. Why? Because I like choices. I like to be able to determine what I want to do with my money. So I sold AMZ. I had all the dividends for holding it for the past 3 months, plus the share price appreciation. So I sold it. And then I just reinvested all of that in another good company using Yield Max fund, a company that I believe in, that I like, that had a much lower price, so I could actually get more shares. So I went in on Appley, right? Sold all my AMZ, collected all that money, and then just reinvested back into Appley after the earnings, after the price dropped a little bit. And that's why it's so important for me to DCA or average down, whatever you want to call it, and keep my average price as low as I can. So when the underlying does go up and the Yield Max fund that follows it goes up, then I can make a choice. And choices are wonderful in life, aren't they? Choices are freedom. And that's what I want in my life, is freedom. If you like my content, I would greatly appreciate it if you would just gently caress the like button. And if you want to hang out with me and other traders and high yield dividend investors, I got a Discord server. I'll leave a link in the description. Another thing I want to talk about is QQQY and how much I love it. Like, I absolutely adore QQQY, and I adore investing in the markets, actually more so than I do individual stocks. So just, the video's kind of in two parts here, so sorry about that. But in QQQY, my account allocation, I got 40% of my account in QQQY. I got 20% in Tesla, 20% in IWMY, and 20% now in Appley, okay? And then as time goes on, I'm going to be getting back in JEPY, J-E-P-Y, because it follows the S&P, and the S&P is absolutely my favorite index out of all of them. So I got to get back in JEPY. I love the share price and how it maintains it. And I don't mind that it doesn't pay as high as a dividend as some of the others. That's okay for me. It pays a great dividend. But I also kind of like that share price hanging around. Why? Because, again, it gives me choices. And if I wanted to, I could sell it for a profit and get into maybe another fund that I would like. So I hope you liked the content. I hope you liked the video. And let me know what you think. How do you allocate your funds? And how do you prepare when you know a pullback is imminent? This is Mike, Tactical Stock Scalper, out.